I decided to move to Baltimore, we hadn't spoken in a really long time. Mom cried when I left. She gave me a check for $500 and said, "Hey, this is just to get started." But maybe you knew that, Dad.
I thought this one was really compelling. It's essentially a monologue, just all shot in one location, but the story is just so real and just so engaging, and you're just interested to hear more. And near the beginning, I had a feeling he was speaking to his deceased father, but then the big sort of I guess surprise for me was when he reveals that it was that very day that his father passed, and it kind of just like gives you that moment of like, oh wow. And I mean, obviously this is film and lots of time has passed, but that doesn't matter. It was just really smart, and if they had gone out that very day and this happened and had that idea for it, I mean, that would be even more amazing. But that aside, I think it was just executed really well for what it was.
Cannonball was really endearing for me. It was hard to watch Donnie's pain, but the camera was crisp and the angles changed the background. Changed often enough. Both of those changed often enough to keep me interested. So ultimately, Donnie should be proud of himself because he did the brave thing and was honest with his emotions, no matter what the consequences were.
It was shot simple in one location next to those statues, but the story that the guy tells is really emotional, and I'm sure people can relate, especially with the loss of a father that you were never able to talk to in life, and now it's crazy that when they're gone, I mean, you're talking to them but they're not there, and you're able to get out all those feelings, all those emotions, and whatever else is bottled up inside, just to get it out and have that sense of having that weight lifted off your shoulder. So I could really relate to like the guy in the film, because who doesn't have those things when you want to talk to somebody but they're not willing to listen, or they argue with you or something like that. But it takes it a whole different dynamic when you are talking to somebody that has passed and moving on through your words and just getting it out and dealing with it internally and through your spoken word. So
interesting, because I really liked the camera angles. I'm not sure if this was this guy's story or if he was an actor, but he was very compelling. He did a great job. I liked the metaphor of him sitting on the cannonball itself, because when you're being judged, you're under fire, and I'm thinking that maybe the cannon itself represented his father.
I thought it was really interesting. I loved how it was filmed, and like the different shot, like the different camera angles that they switched to as he was kind of revealing more about his own past and his relationship with his dad. I thought was fantastic. I loved the kind of symbolism of like facing, like using a cannon, facing the cannonball, of like sometimes these moments can be so terrifying, and that you really sometimes do kind of have to pull the trigger in a manner of speaking.
I just want to give an A+ to this performance. I felt like with his monologue and his performance, I was so drawn into the story that I couldn't help but just want to know more and just want to keep listening to his story and give him my attention that he deserves for being so brave and willingness to share his side of the story of what happened to him, and what he had to say. The energy he gave off really made me feel that I wanted to show importance to the story that he was sharing.
I thought it was well done. It was well presented. It's so hard to let go of that rage when you're rejected by your parents. You wonder if he'll ever get over it. And I like the way that it ended, because it kind of left that open to interpretation. There's that sense that he had of failure and exasperation, that it sounded like he continuously tried to reach out to his parents. With his dad always rejected him, never ever really accepted him and loved him. So there's this element of sadness as well as the rage that goes into his feelings now. So I thought it was a great job done. Thank you.
I loved Face the Cannonball. Erik Dronberger was really good. And I think that it was really a unique way to get across the message on how, as parents, we need to accept our kids if they are queer. And if we don't, then that's the future that we face, is them saying "fuck you" on the day we die. And it was really unique way to give that perspective. The acting was superb.
It was honest and complicated, just like a lot of familial relationships are, and the theme of abuse is so consistent throughout these films. And I think it's something that really needs to be looked at, that people who are abused because they're not seen as good enough or not seen as right, and how does that affect them even when they're adults and by all external measures successful. It's really interesting and quite powerful. I enjoyed this film.